What's happening, Reds? Welcome back to the show. Kind of a little kind of Ipswich match reaction here, but not really match reaction. Maybe kind of a look back. Didn't get a chance over the weekend to jump on and do this, but certainly very, very interesting game on Saturday for a number of reasons. Of course, unbelievable. Arne Slot getting off to a winning start. The first Liverpool manager in the Premier League era to begin with a winning start. And some people might throw shade and go, yeah, but it was only Ipswich. But hang on a minute. The great King Kenny, of course, started off in his second round there as well. And he lost to Blackpool 2-1, although he did win the previous game, so he didn't necessarily get off to a losing start. But anyway, let's talk about this. Mo Salah, the highest goal scorer now in the opening game's history. After overtaking Shearer, Rooney, Lampard, the likes of. Phenomenal stuff there, really. But also now 300 goal contributions in 350 games. 212 goals, 88 assists. Absolutely phenomenal by the Egyptian King. Looks really, really back to his best at the moment and all. So two phenomenal records there picked up at the weekend. Great to get off to a win and start. When we look back at the game, first half a little bit interesting. We could kind of see what they wanted to do, but it just kind of, the chemistry didn't come together. Looked a little bit disjointed, and you're going to get that new manager coming in with a new way of playing, new ideas, all that kind of stuff and all. Of course, the surprise was, of course, Joe Gomez being totally left out of the squad. Obviously, it looks like Joe is probably going to leave us now over the last 2 weeks of the window, and it's sad to see Joe go, the longest serving player in the squad, of course, at this stage. But it'll be sad to see him go. We will 100% miss his versatility, but of course we wish him well. But the big news was that he might be part of a deal for Branthwaite at Everton. Sky Bet yesterday slashing the odds of Branthwaite coming to Liverpool, now the favourites to sign him. Could that possibly happen? We get a double switch across Stanley Park. No one, I think, would have figured that would happen and stuff like that. And that's why sometimes when we escalate and anxiety kicks in about the transfer window and stuff like that, sometimes there's a plan there and we just need to keep our powder dry and see what happens. Of course, we need to see what comes over the line though, and let's see what happens. Can these deals be done? More often than not, they're talking about when it's players switching. Very, very difficult. And when it's Everton and Liverpool players switching, extremely difficult. So let's see what happens there. Sean Dyche would be absolutely elated to get Joe Gomez in. Obviously losing Branthwaite would be huge, especially on the back of losing Onana in midfield. But if you got Joe Gomez in, the versatility that Joe would bring to that back line in Everton would pay huge dividends. On top of that, he could also do a role in midfield for Sean Dyche. And I know with the way Everton's season is going to go, looking at the way things are, versatile players are going to be absolutely massive for them. So don't discount that in any way, the value of a Joe Gomez and the experience he has going into an Everton backline and stuff like that. But let's talk more about the game. Obviously, second half. And the one thing I said, it's a refreshing approach at the moment. I said it on one of Jamie's shows or something like that in the chat, that it's a real refreshing approach. That, you know, you look at some of the things that Arne has done. He's obviously looked and had a real deep dive into each of these players within this squad and stuff like that. Doesn't suffer fools gladly. Needs you to do a job. Identifies very quickly, very, very quickly, when there's an issue there that's causing problems or things aren't quite going the way we want. And you could see that change, Konate coming in for Jarell Quansah. Now listen, hands up, I'm the biggest Jarell Quansah fan out there, and he wasn't doing an overly bad job, but at a number of times the lap was getting at him and winning and causing problems in that area. Konate much more assured in the second half, and of course we heard from Ebu as well. I'm sure he would have been disappointed not starting the game, especially with the way the Euros went for him, because with the exception of Saliba, he's a much better defender than Upamecano, but didn't really get a chance in the Euros. So good to see Konate coming back in and playing well as well, which is what we needed. Certainly changed the face of the game, but also structurally in the way we went about it. Obviously the tactical conversation was happening at half time as well, where we brought Mo in narrow and we brought Luis Diaz in narrow, and then that opened up for those overlapping runs and stuff like that, which is the stuff that I've been barking on for nearly a year or more now, that we've been missing, and that they pay such fruits in terms of goals and in terms of opportunities and stuff like that, and boom, just like that, it was changed up and away we went. Absolutely fabulous to see it. And we know that Arna now is not going to suffer fouls. Like, he came out and he said exactly what it was in relation to Jarell Quansah. Jarell Quansah wasn't too happy at all. You could see it on the bench and stuff like that, but you got to pull up your big boots at times now. These are grown men, professionals and stuff like that as well, and you can see by Arna, he's not going to suffer fouls gladly. He's not going to be there to cuddle you. He's not going to be putting an arm around you. He expects a level of performance, and if you don't deliver that level of performance, he'll hook you in 5 minutes, he'll hook you in 10 minutes, he'll hook you in 60 minutes. And how refreshing it was to make that change straight away, not wait till 60 minutes like we've been used to in the past and stuff like that. Again, I think we still have issues on the left side. I think with Robbo, obviously a disjointed pre-season for him, and on the back of a very poor Euros and stuff like that, maybe he'll need a bit of time and stuff like that. But I do think on that left side, change is needed. Costas came on. Did he really make a difference? I don't think. But one of the key things I wanted to talk about was Gakpo coming on and Luis Diaz staying on. Jota coming off. Really, really clever. He's obviously looked at Jota as being a key player in terms of goals and contributions, stuff like that, and he needs to protect them as much as he can. So that was a very, very clever substitute. I think in the old days we would have seen Luis Diaz being hooked for Cody Gakpo, and I think we would have seen Darwin, who didn't appear this week and stuff like that, but no doubt will get his place. So yeah, really, really positive at the moment. Really, really refreshing approach. No bullshit, just straight down and direct to it, and no nonsense about why he did this or why he did that. He said it was a tactical substitution with Quansah. This is why he did it. You could see what he was doing with the other manoeuvres and stuff like that, and the changes on the pitch and stuff like that. But certainly second half, a combination of maybe Ipswich having to work really, really hard first half, maybe ran out of a little bit of gas. But boy, oh boy, the way we started moving in units and in pockets and the way we played and stuff like that was really, really, really impressive second half. More like kind of a little feel of the old, but just with a little sprinkling of slot ball in there as well. Mention for Ryan Gravenberch, who I thought was really, really good in the six. Again, we can put up our hands and go, maybe if he's in there against a Rodri or he's in there against a City or something like that, it may not look as good, or an Arsenal. But certainly on the basis of what we've seen there on Saturday, certainly it looks like he could be the guy that he's selecting for the six. And again, how that releases McAllister to do his thing, and Dominic and stuff like that. But I think all round a really good performance second half. I think the goal now coming up with Brentford this weekend coming, I think the goal is to kind of figure out, right, how do we get that from minute one and stuff like that. And also, let's see what happens. Brentford, it'll be at home, so there'll be a bit of pressure on in front of the Anfield faithful this Sunday, I think it is. So let's see what happens there. Brentford up next. Will Tony be in the side, or will Tony have made his move? He was left out at the weekend for Brentford. Obviously a huge player for them. I think if he's not there, I think they're a little bit weak, and I think it's good for us if he's not there. So maybe his future might be sorted over this week and stuff like that. Let's see what happens. Thomas Frank made the point in his post-match that he's a little bit distracted at the moment with a move and stuff like that, so there's no point in having him involved and all that kind of thing. But for Liverpool, nothing but positivity in that second half. Kind of, it will take a little bit of time to really click on that slot ball, but it was interesting to see the post-match interviews as well from the likes of Salah and stuff like that, and he said how refreshing it is to be playing ball this way, that it's so different to Jurgen and all that kind of stuff. And you know, we're not going to spend this season comparing and looking back and throwing shade and all that kind of stuff, but little times like that, little tweaks and stuff like that, where it might have changed in a different kind of way and stuff like that, and we might have come unstuck in that first game potentially against Ipswich. We've seen it in the past at times where we come unstuck against these teams and we might get a draw, or it might just not go the way we want them. We just end up going for stupid things and start to pulverise things and, you know, step out of the box and don't think the things we should be doing. But I think second half we showed that the plan is there, the tactical plan is there. If things aren't working, he's open to change, and that's really, really good as well. I think he was really, really happy with the second half. I think the first half not so much, plenty still to work on, but a big 3 points for us. And we're off and running, Reds. Brentford up next. There will be a preview this week for the Brentford game and a match reaction. But also stay tuned tonight at 9 o'clock, Monday mashup. Myself and Marky will be on. We'll go through all the fixtures at the weekend and give our thoughts on it. Plenty of ref watch stuff to talk about as well, so you should be interested in that. Tomorrow, of course, we have Pro Wrestling Weekly as well. Go through all the latest pro wrestling news. And Wednesday, we have an interview with Danny Pugh, who's going to be on the channel. Myself and Mark will be doing that Wednesday. I think it's 9 o'clock. Check it out on the channel. Make sure you're subscribing, hitting the bell notification button, dropping a like on the video. But up the Reds. We're off to a winning start. Arna's off to a winning start. Everything seems good in the camp. Just get that sprinkling of signings in and we'll be all good, guys. Until next time, folks. Talk to you again real soon. Cheers.